If I've thought about 100 good things and one negative thing happens, well, that negative thing doesn't really have as much weight as if I'm paying attention to all the negative and then one more negative thing happens. So by paying attention to the positive, the negative, you're able to handle it a lot better. So bananas and oranges. Have you ever noticed when you walk into like a work seminar and there'll be a bowl of fruit at the back of the room and it's full of bananas and oranges. And towards the end of the day, the bananas are all gone, but all the oranges are still there. Well, that's because bananas are a lot easier to eat. They're not so messy. You can throw out the peel and be done with it. Well, there's a whole industry that looks at this and says, okay, if you want people to do something more often, then make it easy like a banana. If you want it to be more challenging, if you want people not to do something, make it more difficult like an orange. So I'm not an expert in that industry, but we're going to take that same concept with some of the things that we talk about today. My name is Keith Nugent, and if you ask anybody who knows me, I am one of the happiest people they know. Today, I want to talk to you about how I got there and how you can too. So growing up, we all hear, like, I'll be happy when I grow up, when I get out of the house, when I get that job, when I get that promotion. In our community here, when I pass a net worth, whatever that net worth might be. When I just get this one more thing, when I have enough. Everything makes us happy for a moment, but that happiness doesn't seem to last, does it? You've probably heard of the hedonic adaptation. It was introduced in 1971. And the idea is that everybody has their base level of happiness. Everybody's got a different base level, but each person, they say, is born with this base level of happiness. And if something amazing happens, your firstborn child, or you get a promotion at work, you're excited for a while. You win the lottery, you're excited for a while. But then eventually that gets normal and you come back to your base level. Or something horrible happens. Maybe you lose your job, or you have a crippling injury. You would think that would make you much sadder for the rest of your life. But studies have shown that you come back to this base level of happiness. I had this thing. I've had lots of positive and negative things happen, and I always came back to this base level of happiness. But I wanted to know, could I make it any higher? Could I, instead of going back to just sort of being okay, could I go back to being really happy? And I thought about this. How do I do that? How is this actually possible? And I'm not the only one who's trying to figure this out. Many other scholars have thought about this in the decades since the concept was first introduced, and they've come up with some very solid ideas on how to raise your happiness every day. Obviously, these things are great to achieve. It's great to be happy. I'm not saying not to be happy when you win the lottery or when something happens, but stop trying to become happy. Stop trying to wait for that next thing to happen and just be happy. Now, what am I talking about? Just being happy? I'm not saying always be as happy as you won the lottery, but be pleased. Be satisfied with your life. Don't look for external validation. Just be pleased and satisfied with the way that your life is going. All right, great. So how do we do that? Well, I'm going to take it back about 18 years. In 2006, I thought that my life was going great. Similar to what Samantha said, I was adulting it, perfection, okay? I was skydiving every weekend, and I was having a great time until I woke up in the hospital and realized that my life had changed in an instant. My life was shattered. In addition to having broken bones and brain damage, I was having memory problems. Memory problems, confusion, anger issues, and slowness in thinking. I had lost 27 points for my IQ score. I spent the next dozen or so years trying to hold everything together, trying to put my life back together. And it felt at times like I was driving a car down the road on the interstate, trying to put it back together, trying to fix the car while I was driving at 70 miles an hour through a mountain pass during a storm. In that dozen or so years, I tried to learn what I could do to make things better. I read a lot of books, read blogs, listened to podcasts, met with countless number of doctors and therapists and counselors and professionals of any kind that I could get advice from to try to figure out how I could get over this. I also added apps to my phone. One app, there's a ton of apps like this, but it's just a to-do app. What am I going to do? Because with my memory problems, I would go sometimes days without showering because I didn't think about it. Or I would take 3 showers in a day because I would take a shower and an hour later I was like, oh, I haven't taken a shower in a while. I should take a shower, and didn't remember that I had just done it. So I got a to-do list application on my phone that reminded me to do things. I also read a book called The Miracle Morning by Hal Elrod. For those of you that aren't familiar with it, he basically says life is going to throw all sorts of curveballs at you, phone calls and meetings and family and business and work and everything. So you need to do some things every day to make your life better. So get up really early in the morning. I think he recommends like 4 or 5 in the morning, and do these things before life starts intruding. And so I tried that. I got up early and I was trying to do these things. He's got a really cool acronym, SAVERS, for the 6 different areas that he recommends doing. But the thing that I hadn't been trying and that was actually able to do was scribing or journaling. So I sat down, I bought a brand new notebook. It was great. I have this shiny new notebook. I got a pen that was really clear. And I sat down and I thought, all right, what am I supposed to do with this notebook? I don't know what to write here. And so each morning I would get up and I'd stare at the pages and I would write a little bit, but I wasn't doing that great. And then a few days into it, I lost the notebook. And I thought, all right, this is not going well. I need to make a banana out of this. I need to make things as easy as possible. I need to create a system, which I'd read in one of the other books, about instead of trying to remember to do things on your own, instead of trying to reinvent the wheel every day, create a system, create a recipe that you can follow every day. So you don't have to think about what to do. You don't have to remember how to do the steps. You just go, okay, well, open the notes and it's okay, this is what I need to do. So I started by answering the same questions every day, which is something that was recommended in that book. And I started with just simple questions like, how do I feel? What are my plans today? And I went along. I had a number of days where I couldn't find the notebook, so I added an app to my phone. I have an app called Grid Diary that I use. There's other applications on there, and it's just an application that it asks me the same questions every day. And then I learned in the last job that I ever had to do incremental improvement. You don't have to have the perfect system right now. You don't have to do everything in the ideal way. Just start with what you have, and then I changed questions as things come up. I'd read a book, and that's a question I should add to my morning thing. I then added on some evening questions. So I answer questions in the morning, questions in the evening of what am I going to do today, and reflection on how the day went. So journaling was the first time, once I started journaling, was the first time I felt like I really had a grip on things. Like I could start to see how things were going and make plans rather than reacting to how the world was going. And that told me that I needed to be more aware. What is be aware? Okay, these are terms that we hear, but like, okay, great. How do I do that? Well, let's make a banana out of that. Obviously, the journaling was helping me be aware, but I also learned that meditation can help. Now, I don't know about you, but when I think of meditation, I think of some guy sitting cross-legged in the middle of the room, chanting Om, being one with the universe. And I didn't know how to do that. But from some of the books I read and podcasts I listened to, I learned that meditation can just be when you're out walking or when you're doing whatever, just pay attention to your breath. Don't try to change anything. Don't try to be all zen about it. Just be like, hey, I'm breathing in, I'm breathing out, I'm breathing. It's as simple as that. And the benefit of that is it kind of stops the daily clutter and noise that we have bombarding us, our mental noise and the outside noise. And we just pay attention to the one specific thing. It doesn't matter what that specific thing is. I also learned to look for everyday beauty, pay attention to sunrises and sunsets and flowers, actively try to find the beauty in the world. And also savor the things you have. Savor the things that are going on, whether it's your morning meal or paying attention to looking at, okay, this is where I was 5 years ago, this is where I am now. Savor the progress that you've made. This awareness has helped me to appreciate what I have and slow down in life. Go, oh, wow, like life is pretty good if I'm always paying attention. I'm always savoring the things that are going on in my life. So life was good. I'm journaling. I'm working with my doctors. Everything is going great. And then March 2020 came along and the pandemic, and everybody was panicking. Suddenly, all I could see was all these chicken littles telling me the sky was falling and how awful things were. And I tried not to panic. But I remembered from my upbringing that there's some things that I'm going to be able to control. There's some things that I'm going to be able to affect. And there's some things that I'm not going to be able to make an effect on. I want to encourage other people to be happy. So I started a group called Joking with Keith. And I would joke post one or two jokes a day on Facebook for people to laugh at. And I got the benefit of my friends would, like it or comment on it, or they post their own jokes. And so now we're all paying attention to these jokes and a little bit of lightheartedness in this dark-hearted time. Unfortunately, some of my friends are kind of raunchy with their jokes. So eventually I had to rename it to Joking with Keith and his grandma to remind them that grandma reads this too, and I don't want to have to explain some of these jokes to her. In doing that, I discovered the frequency illusion. In addition to helping my friends and giving them funny jokes and stories, it was helping me because now I'm seeing all this positive, and so I was noticing other positive things. Have you ever bought a new car and you notice once you buy that car, that you notice that same car is everywhere on the roads and you never saw it before you did that? That's the frequency illusion, or the Bader-Meinhof phenomenon. The idea is that you notice things that are in the forefront of your mind. So by noticing the jokes and humor in the forefront of my mind, I was seeing other things that were positive. So that made me happier. But in addition to that, there's something called inattentional blindness. And the idea is that you walk into a room and you expect your keys to be on the counter and they're not there, and you're looking all over for them, you can't find them. Somebody else walks into the room and they're like, oh yeah, they're right here. You didn't see them because you weren't expecting them to be in that obscure place that they found them. So this led me to realize that if I notice the good, then good things are going to happen. And started to practice gratitude. Now, I'd heard about gratitude practice and gratitude journaling. I thought, oh, that sounds all nice. That's kind of woo-woo. I don't really know what's going on here. But I'll give it a try because I'm noticing how people are reacting to the jokes. So how did I make a banana out of that? In that journal that I'd been doing, I added some questions for my morning and evening journal of asking what are things that I'm grateful for in the morning, and then at the end of the day, what are 3 things that I'm grateful that happened today? And these are last night and this morning of the entries that I had. In addition to that, I have found, and studies have found, that if you just share your gratitude with somebody else, that not only does it make them happier because they've just heard about something that they should be grateful for, or that they're happy for you that you're grateful for this thing, but you end up being happier because you've shared this. I don't know if it's because of the community of you're relating to somebody else, or I don't know why it is, but studies have shown that you'll be happier if you share your gratitude with somebody else. By paying attention to the good, by following the gratitude practice every day, the negative stuff doesn't seem to occur to me as much. And when negative things do happen, if I've thought about 100 good things and one negative thing happens, well, that negative thing doesn't really have as much weight as if I'm paying attention to all the negative and then one more negative thing happens. So by paying attention to the positive, the negative, you're able to handle it a lot better. Another book I read at about that same time, I think I read this one in 21, is The Brain That Changes Itself. For any of you that have experienced traumatic brain injury, or anybody in your family that has experienced traumatic brain injury, or stroke victims, I highly recommend this book. It's a number of stories of people that have scientists and doctors who have taken unconventional approaches to helping to rehabilitate brain injuries. One of the things that I learned from there is that I need to keep learning. I need to keep reading books and keep exercising my mind, because not only does it help with staving off cognitive decline later in life, as we've all heard, but it helps you in your day-to-day life to make connections that wouldn't have otherwise occurred to you. So how did I make a banana out of this? One of the studies that they talk about in the book was about doing these brain exercises, and they had people doing these brain exercises for hours a day. The people who did that study came out with a brain exercise app. Now, there are other brain exercise apps that also that have also been shown to have the same effect. This is the one that I use. I'm not all the apps that I talk about here, I'm not promoting that particular app. I'm just telling you which one I use. There are other apps that also do the same thing. Also, puzzles. I try to do puzzles on a somewhat regular basis. I play board and card games, which has the added benefit of getting together with friends and playing games, which is always good. And I still read every day. So it brings me joy and pride that I'm learning something new. Obviously, the idea of hanging out with friends and learning new things, I pay better attention. And the really cool thing is it doesn't matter what you read. It can be a self-help book. It can be a finance book. It can be a Harlequin romance novel. Just reading something every day is going to make your brain make connections. It gets you out of your reality and gets you into another reality, another way of thinking. And you make connections back in your day-to-day life that you wouldn't have necessarily otherwise made. So everything is going great. I'm paying attention to my doctors. I've got my morning routine. And August 21 was kind of difficult for me. Now, back up a little bit. I told you that I was a skydiver. In skydiving, a big skydiving event, we called it a boogie. It was named in the 70s. The name is stuck. I don't know why it's called a boogie. But my home drop zone has one of the largest boogies of the year every year. And so, and I've got one of the best jobs at that boogie, or I did when I was skydiving. I would get up in the morning, I'd go up to the hangar, and there was people that wanted to go do a skydive. They wanted to go do something fun. I was the cameraman, so I would get on the plane with them, and I would jump out and I would watch my friends having fun. We would all land, we'd go in, and I would show them video, so we'd relive the fun that they just had. We'd relive that on video. And then I would get on the plane and go do that again for 8 to 10 hours. When I would get a little tired, I would go down to the pond and operate the zip line that I designed and built and have fun with my friends riding a zip line and falling into the pond. As the sun set, we'd go to the outdoor tiki bar and have dinner and drinks with live music and games well into the night. I would get up in the morning and do it again for 9 days straight. It went from weekend to weekend, from Friday to Monday. So for 9 days straight, I had dopamine and adrenaline pounding at my system. And on day 10, everybody gets what we call the post-boogie blues, because everybody went home and now all of a sudden you don't have that constant input. And most years, the post-boogie blues, I'd be sort of like bummed for a few days. I wouldn't get a lot done. I'd watch a lot of TV, scroll Facebook a lot, just maybe take some naps. But in 21, I got it really bad. I couldn't get out of bed for 3 days. I couldn't stop crying. I was wrecked. Friends would call to check on me, and I didn't want to talk to people. It was the most depressed and sad that I have ever been. And I got out of bed, and I was still doing my morning routine, and I think some of that morning routine stuff is kind of what brought me back. And I eventually recovered a little bit. See, up to this point, I'd had a group of people. I was busy with rehabbing my properties. I was always so busy with skydiving that I wasn't taking time to really spend time with friends. I wasn't getting these deep connections. I had my contractors with the properties. They were always like, yeah, what do you want? Yeah, we can do that. This is how much it's going to cost. I was relying too much on the social media likes and the bar talk that I'm partially deaf, so I couldn't understand what people were saying anyway. So it was a lot of smiling and nodding at the bar. I wasn't having a lot of interactions. And so I found that I was slowly hiding within myself and trying to withdraw from the social vampires. The social vampires are the people that just want to talk about themselves or just want your attention. And you try to have a conversation with them and they're not interested in what you have to say. And you just want to go home feeling drained. What I needed was a tribe, people who genuinely care about what's going on with me, people that I can have dialogue and conversations with. What I needed was social charging stations, people that when I walked away, I would feel great. There's a famous quote: if you look at your inner circle and you're not inspired, you don't have a circle, you have a cage. So how did I make a bend out of this? How did I get away from the social vampires and have more social charging stations? Well, luckily for me, I'd already bought a ticket before this, and a few weeks later, I went to my first CampFI. And as many of you have experienced, it's life-changing. Now these are people who actually care about what you have to say. You can have deep conversations and not just talk about the weather. Over the next few years, I went to a lot more of these events. I went on road trips with a lot of the people that I met at and subsequent CampFIs. As Samantha said, a whole group of us traveled halfway around the world to Bali and had a lot of adventures on the other side of the world. And I keep doing these things and keep interacting with my friends. Now, I'm not saying that the way to have friends is to do all of this, but there are some simple things you can do. First of all, think about who your social charging stations are. Who are the people that when you interact with them, you walk away happy, you walk away feeling energized and positive. Think about those people and don't let them out of your life. Make a point of getting together with them, spend time with them, call them up. I have in that app reminder app on my phone, did I talk to these particular people each week? I also have one of the questions that I answer at the end of the day is, who did I talk to today? I make a point of talking to the people that are important to me on a regular basis so that I can keep that social energy going. Okay. And ask yourself, after you interact with somebody, did they charge me up or selfishly drain me? Now, I'm not talking about, there's some people that you have a conversation, you walk away and you're both wiped out because you were solving some big problem that one of you had. I'm not talking about those types of draining. I'm talking about the people that are pulling from you all the time. They're take, and they never give it back. Those people, just get rid of them. Yeah. No, seriously, just get rid of them. So having a tribe, having this close friends has helped me to get out of my head, helped me to work through problems that seemed like massive mountains of problems in my own head. And then when I interacted with somebody else and discussed it with somebody else, I was like, oh, maybe this is just a molehill. Helps me to feel like I belong. I can walk into a CampFI like this and see people that I really adore. I can meet new people and feel like, okay, this is a people that I belong with. It helps me to work through any traumas that have gone on in my life and help other people walk through the traumas that have happened in their life. So those are the 5 things that I've found that have made my life better. It makes me happier every day. It makes the negative things not have nearly the effect on me. And I feel like I've really raised my base level of happiness a little bit. And I don't remember the last time that I was unhappy on a regular basis going forward. Thank you.